Again, I was inspired to do a video for you, and the words came, I want it now. You should do a video on that. And later on, the answer came too, which can be a question or an answer. The question is, will it work? It can be read in another way. Will it? Then it will work. That's why I put the title, I want it now, period, and then put the will it work in caption and put a question mark. It's not going to work. If you don't question it and will it, then it will work. And these are not my words. These words came just for you, and I'm just only sharing these words for you to contemplate on it. Will it? It will work. But what happens usually, since these words came to me from a divine space, it is so powerful. Will it work? That is human mind. I want it now. No, you can't get it now. Will it work? The answer is no, it won't work. How can it work? But on the other hand, it is easier to accept that it will not work. Then the divine way of doing is, will it work? It is Jesus submitted his will to the will of God. And that's what everybody has to do here. If it is not your will, and if it is the divine will, it will work. And Jesus himself said that if God had wanted to help me, he would have sent an angel. So God depends on the angels for his work. He doesn't depend on. He orders the angels to go and do his work. So the will of God is supported by his incredible power. And God is not someone who just sits in heaven. He does so too. I'm not saying that he is not there. He is there and he is sitting in heaven too. As much as he is sitting in your head, in your brain, as the power, willpower, not your negative willpower. If you exercise your negative willpower, then it won't work. And God and Jesus never exercised that. He knew that he could not do by himself anything. With my Father, everything is possible. Who is the Father? The Father is the will, the divine will that you have. So, I want to explain this a little bit here. I want it now. Okay, I can spend an hour on that. By asking questions, but I'm not going to do that. I will be very brief. But it will give you a perspective of how our brain works, how we take things for granted, how we are superficial, how we go wrong. All these things are answered. I will try to answer by explaining this phrase, I want it now. Now, when you say I, what do you mean? Okay. I am that I am, you have heard. There is a capital I and a small I. The small I is the ego self, which is yourself. But we don't make a distinction between the two. We always assume or operate from the limited ego I consciousness, which is subjected to all kinds of limitations, time, space, and negativity, doubts, all that belong to the I. So we are not even conscious of the fact that who am I? Who am I? Ramana Maharshi, for instance, spent a whole life inquiring to find out who am I, and he found out. And who he was not just the body or the mind, but Brahman, God himself. So I am not different from God. So this body is not the me, this mind is not the me. So that finding took place after meditating for decades, several decades. We have not even started to ask the question whether we understand what we are saying. I want it now. If the I changes, then everything will change. The I has to move from the doubtful, negative, limited, rationalistic ego consciousness, and then identify yourself with the fact that you are the greater I, which is God. Because God's will always be the one that succeeds, but not the human will. So when you say that I want it now, then you are identifying yourself with a smaller I. Okay. So you have to identify with the greater I. How do we do that? You always identify yourself not as the body, mind, and the soul, but someone who is unlimited, which is God within you. By praying to God, put the prayer first. God, I'm going to do this. This is a very limited consciousness, but you can do that. So that's why it's said that you have to do it in the name of Jesus, or in the name of Shiva or Vishnu, or whatever name you want to use it, you have to do. But the changes should take place existentially, not just intellectually or through semantics. It's not just semantics. It has to change dramatically. So while this idea came to me, it also came that I should be focus on this I, the divine I, which is also you, for my upcoming Guru Purnima seminar. So I'm going to include that, and focus I'll help you focus on divine manifestation versus human manifestation. Okay. Divine manifestation is instantaneous manifestation, which means I want it now. So now I have discussed what I is. So there's two I's. Is it yours? It's not yours. If the I becomes bigger and bigger, then the limitations, fall apart, and then you become, closer to God or God. And then that takes, I'll give you an example. Now, when a president or a prime minister of a country says I, and this I is a much bigger I because it has power. What kind of power? The power of the entire country, entire human beings, for whom he is a representative. He's a representative of the people of that nation. So he is identifying himself with the power of the whole country. consciousness of this country. So his I is much bigger than a Joe Blow's I. So that is even limited. When he cannot identify with a country for which he is not the president or prime minister. So what you need to do is you have to expand your awareness of this I. And that a simple thing that you can do is put God first, the prayer first. I'm going to do and help me. It's just simple, but not intellectually, because you have to go to a quiet state. That's why I'm going to spend giving you techniques of how to enlarge your I from a limited, rationalistic, doubtful, negative consciousness to unlimited consciousness, wherein you can identify yourself with God. Worst come worst, at least you can get what you wanted in the now. Again, the other word that I want to explain is the now. So when I say I want it now, we don't know who the I is. We do not know even the it. I want it. What? We don't define it. So we have gone wrong in our thinking. We do not know how to think. There is a saying that think and manifest. If you think, you will not be able to manifest, because your thought comes from your I consciousness. This is by Napoleon Hill, who wrote the book Think and Manifest. If you think, you cannot manifest. But if the you or the I in you is the bigger I, then it can manifest, because it has no duality. So non-dual consciousness, you should have the non-dual consciousness. And you should also define, I want it now. What does it mean, it now? And there you will, if you inquire into this, you will get a lot of clarity. I want the money now, or want the house now, or the car now. Just go and think deeply into it and define what is the it. So you have to live a conscious life. We are living totally unconscious life. And especially when you become a victim to social consciousness, language restrictions, cultural restrictions, and the family wherein we grew from, and also the environment, neighbors, uncles and aunts, and our previous life. There are so many restrictions which we have to completely liberate yourself from. I want it now. So I needs to be inquired very deeply, because your father is involved, your mother is involved in the I. And your limitation, your education, your karma. So all these have to be considered. You have to live a conscious life. Meditation is not just keeping your eyes closed and then watching your breath or anything. Okay. Even watching your breath itself, people don't understand that watching the breath, is it oxygen or prana? Is prana involved in the oxygen? What is prana? Nobody knows. So when we are limited by all our, superficial understanding, then we can do it in the now. I want it now. Then you have to ask, what is the now? You may be reading books about now. What is the now? Does the now change? Yes. Now is not just what I am talking now. In some sense, yes. But now is deeper. It's a matter of eternal flow that gives you a, a, a clear understanding of how you become limited by the now. You may be wanting it in the now, something, but in the next moment, the now will give you a bigger, fascinating, profitable understanding. So you have to be prepared for that. I think this will be a great way for us to start working on this Guru Purnima, and that's one thing. And there are some other secrets that I am going to reveal to you about why this Guru Purnima is very important. Personally, for me, when I began to know about it through some sources that came to me through the Nadi scriptures of my own identity and of my own understanding of what I wanted now, it completely changed my life. And I'm going to incarnate that personality of Vyasa. Vyasa is one of the greatest gurus, in whose name every Guru Purnima, every full night of the Guru Purnima moon is celebrated. His name is Vyasa, the greatest teacher, God. And then I got the blessings of him, so I would be able to incarnate that energy to pass it on to you. So I will do prior to Guru Purnima, I will share more information with you, because this is already a long video, and then I don't want to mix up this. So I want it now. Consider this. Ask these questions. During the program, I will ask these questions with you, along with whatever I thought I would do. But now, what is going to help you is, once you know, I want it now, and deeply think about it, reflect on it, and then reflect on, will it work? As a question. Will it? It will work. That's the answer. God bless.